Hello and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host Greg from the Lewiston City Library. Joining me today is Jim McKelway from the Equipment Services Manager for the City of Lewiston. Thank you for being on the show, Jim.
Great. Thanks for having me, Greg.
And welcome. So first and foremost, Equipment Services Manager doesn't mean much to folks on the outside. What exactly does your job entail?
We have the responsibility of taking care of at least 300 pieces of equipment, a very eclectic array of equipment from stationary generators up to our 100-foot aerial in the fire department. We maintain all the vehicles and provide for eventual replacement, and but it keeps us busy with the servicing of the vehicles, keeping them, of course, available, reliable, and safe. And it's a pretty good sized job, it really is. But I got a great bunch of guys that are very schooled in their skill, and I think we take a great care of our equipment for the citizens, for our user departments, and also the citizens of Lewiston, because they rely so heavily on making sure that we have the equipment ready when they call for a sewer truck or a police car or a fire truck. We hold that responsibility very dear to us. So yeah, it keeps us very busy.
I would imagine. And like we were talking before the show, I mean, the impact that your department has on the city and the citizens themselves is huge.
Well, you know, the citizens, of which I am one, we rely on our local government to provide services for us. You call the police department, the fire department. You have a water leak, you have a sewer backup. Anything that entails a service that the city provides, there's equipment that has to be used by the crews to get out there, get it taken care of, and keep things, rolling. We, like I said, we take the responsibility very highly and take it very seriously.
Well, me as a citizen and a city employee, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And so my understanding is you've been with the city for 40 years now.
Yeah. Yeah, looking back, I'm thinking that it went fast. It really did. And but I was fortunate to have started in 1975. Of course, in those days, I had worked in a service station for about 7 years, and the opportunity arose for me to work for the City of Lewiston. And we started off in some very archaic shops that used to be on Snake River Avenue. In fact, before the levee came in, they were tin roof buildings and very crowded. We had quite a few departments that were in the same area, and everybody was kind of walking into each other. But there's always a promise when I first started working for the city that there would be a new shop built up on Warner. At the time, they were negotiating with the school district to buy land just east of the school district shop up on Warner, and I guess that was my only hope to move out of the area that we had down there on Snake River Avenue, because it was very uncomfortable. It was crowded, and the facilities weren't very good. But it was, at that time, it was just temporary. But I was fortunate to be with the city with these 40 years. We got a modern shop on Warner, and just had some expansion over the years, particularly when we took on the Lewiston Transit bus system, and we needed extra room for the buses, and so we installed another truck hoist for us and some other things so we could service the buses. But it's continually growing. I mean, as the city grows, we have to grow too. We have to take care of the expanding equipment that it takes to take care of the citizens. So,
well, like I said before, 40 years. I appreciate your service, and I'm sure over that time you've seen a few minor changes in the equipment that you've been using in vehicles. What are some of the changes that you?
I was thinking back on it. When I first started out, we had some of the diagnostic machines that we used. They're probably the size of a refrigerator, and now you can hold them in the palm of your hand. We have scan tools that can plug into the system and determine what's wrong with the car now, whereas before it wasn't so obvious. And it was what we do is going back on the equipment. There have been changes in tools and how to diagnose problems, and so we have to stay on top of that. Every year they have a thicker manual for all the things that you have to check, and they're all very important for that vehicle to operate. We started off with carburetors and maybe one computer, and the other day we were working on a police car. There's now 18 computers inside of a car now, so we have to monitor those also. So it's a quantum leap from what we were used to, that we had back when I first started. So, but we have to stay on top of it. I mean, you have to keep the equipment going. So we attend schools, seminars, even the street sweepers. The equipment is getting so technical. We've sent our techs back to Elgin, Illinois, for our sweepers, and because everything's computer controlled, and it's not simply replacing parts. You have to know what you're looking for.
Oh, absolutely.
And and of course the training and everything else. It's got to be. We're so cognizant of the cost. I mean, we're taxpayers too, and we want to get the best out of our investment. And the guys are very conscious of this, and so any training that we get, I mean, that's just an investment. We make sure that the equipment is done, is repaired correctly and as economically as we can get it. So,
and I think that's really important that other folks hear that from outside the city, how we as city employees are also taxpayers, and we take that very seriously when we are looking at trainings and things like that, where it's necessary to give the best service that we can.
Yeah, it's tantamount, because you make a mistake and it's going to cost a lot of money, and we're very, very conscious of our liability, particularly with our emergency equipment. Any equipment that we touch, we have to, you realize the consequences if something did go wrong. You don't want to try to dwell on that too much, but it's still there, and so anything that we touch, repair, it's got to be right.
Absolutely. And so 40 years is no short lifespan for any employee in any one position. So what have you enjoyed most, or what are some of your fondest memories over the last 40 years working for the City of Lewiston?
It always gets down to the people. The equipment changes, and maybe other things get past you, but it's always the quality of people that I've seen. I've always been proud of working with the City of Lewiston and for the City of Lewiston, and the people are the greatest asset. Every department and their people have the same mindset. They want to provide the best services for the people of Lewiston, and I mean, it's just something that that's probably the biggest thing that really comes out. That's probably the biggest enjoyment that I have is with the people, and I mean, there's times where you have to. Maybe it's not so pleasant stuff, but those are, that's the biggest thing. One of the things I've enjoyed over the years is part of what we do is accident investigations. We help out, we assist the police department with some of the things that happen, and we provide the mechanical side of it, make sure that what we do is thorough, and if there's a question of why something happened to a vehicle. I was called out about a year and a half ago when a car was crashed into the front of the Station 1 downtown and damaged 2 ambulances that were parked in there. And I got called on about 10 o'clock that night, and it was just like a war zone down there. And we had to determine the damages to the ambulances and what was going to be our next step, because essentially 2 ambulances were completely out of service now. It was July 5th, of course, in the heart of summertime.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, we had taken on a remounted ambulance that hadn't been put into service yet, and we were using that as a backup, and it couldn't happen at a better time if there was a better time for an accident to happen. Yeah. But we assessed the damages and got the ambulances back in service within a few short months. But it gives you a lot of pleasure that you've done something that to keep things going, keep things rolling, and particularly emergency equipment. But again, my enjoyment is working around some very talented people. The shop guys are great. Everyone has a particular talent that they use for different forms of equipment. They can work on everything. But we have we set up police cars. We of course work on the ambulances and the fire trucks, and we do the aerial inspection every year on the 100-foot aerial. So that's, I would say, working around, just standing away from it rather than being involved so much, and watching their craft, being used every day it's always been a great enjoyment for me. And besides that, they're a bunch of great guys too. We all get along great, so it makes for a very comfortable environment.
Well, that's great, Jim. And before we wrap up today, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, it's just that, like I said, I've really enjoyed my 40 years here. I enjoy the responsibilities. Sometimes everything maybe happening at the same time. You have to get your priorities straight, make sure everything is flowing. But I certainly enjoyed it. I really have. Great, like I said, again, I go back to the people. Met some wonderful people, and that's always I'll always remember that.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today, Jim. Pleasure having you.
Thank you, Greg.
And thank you for your 40 years of service to the city as well.
Thank you very much.
It's fantastic.
Appreciate that very much.
And on behalf of our guest, Jim McKelway, myself, and everyone else here, we hope to see you next time on City Beat.